Welcome back to my channel. This is Nikki of Nikki's Homemade Crafts. Today I would like to teach you how to crochet the faded rainbow reversible hat. It has a pom-pom on the top that you can remove, and you can of course reverse the entire hat all the way around, and you can see the rainbow a lot more that way, and then just simply reattach the pom and you're good to go. So let's make this beautiful hat. In order to crochet the hidden rainbow hat, you're going to need two hooks. I'm using a 5mm and a 5.5mm hook. I'm using two different sizes just because it makes it easier to handle, but you can totally do just one. You can use the same length. You can use a corded version. It's totally up to you. But for the beginning, you're going to need one that's longer. So either one like this or a corded version. I'm also showing you how much yarn I have here left over using the yarns that I used in my hat. So I'm using Premier Yarn Anti-Pilling Everyday Yarn worsted in the color white and Sweet Roll Vivid in the color Primary. So this is literally what I have left after making a adult size hat. This hat is reversible. So you're going to have on one side more of the vivid and on the other side more of the white, therefore a hidden rainbow. I'm going to show you a smaller version of this hat just so that you understand how to make it. So on the very first part of it, you're going to crochet the Tunisian knit and purl stitch. So you're going to make a chain amount that works for your hat size. So I have a written pattern down below that has a reference table. I would like you to use that reference table because it has all the measurements that you will need. So we're going to start with the ribbing of the hat, and you're going to need the hat circumference in order to have the correct measurement. Keep in mind that stitches are a little stretchy, so your chain is always going to be longer than your very first row. However, you're going to need a chain count that is an even number. The very first row is going to be just a Tunisian simple stitch because you need a foundation. So you're going to simply pull up your loops from your chain. I prefer going into the back bump of my chain to make a cleaner look. It's also going to be easier later once you transition from the ribbing to the body of the hat. Once you're done pulling up all your loops, you're simply going to work them up with the return pass that you normally would. So yarn over, pull through one, and then the rest of them, yarn over, pull through two. In the next row and all the following rows, you're going to do the exact same thing. Start with a Tunisian knit stitch on the first stitch, and then a Tunisian purl stitch on the following stitch. So for the Tunisian knit stitch, you're simply going to look at your vertical bars right here and going to go through them to the back and pull up a loop. And for the Tunisian purl stitch, you're going to move your yarn to the front of your hook, insert your hook through the vertical bar, and then pull up your loop from the front, like so. And now go back and forth, so knit, purl, and so forth, all the way until the end of the row. The last stitch is going to be the border stitch, so don't forget that, and it goes through both loops. Now return pass is exactly the same as before, yarn over, pull through one, and then yarn over, pull through two for the rest of the stitches. Repeat this row until you have 10 or 11 rows in total, and now you're going to fold over your ribbing. Okay, so let me show you on this unfinished hat right here. So what I did is I simply folded it over like so. So it makes it a loop, right? So that means the backing, that means the back of your project is on the inside. So you're folding it over in a loop, and now we're going to you're going to work the last and first row together. That way you create this really thick ribbing and you can easily reverse your hat. So now pretend that I just did that and I folded it over, and now I'm going through two rows at the same time, right? I'm just not going to do this on this one, but it's the exact same thing here. When you fold it over, you're going through 2 stitches at the same time. So not just one, like I did this way, it would be 2 of them, right? Because you folded it over. So pretend that it would be like this, right? And then just going to go through 2 layers at the same time. Now we're going to transition over to the body. So once you have your ribbing done and you fold it in half, we're going to start with the body. The body is done in rounds. So you can see right here that I have not sewn this part together yet. So we're going to do that at the very end. I left a yarn here so I can sew it together. So that means the ribbing was done in rows, and now we're transitioned into rounds. So there's no seam anywhere to be seen. And you're going to use 2 colors for that. So you're going to use the knit stitch for white, and you're going to use the return pass in the vivid color. So let me show you that. So pretend I'm using 2 layers right now, right? I did I'm doing my ribbing, or I finished my ribbing, and I have 2 layers. So what you're going to do is you're going to simply do knit stitches. So you're going to go through your stitches and pick up your stitches, okay? So through all the stitches, do knit stitches. So you're going to go through every stitch and pick it up. So we're going to go from rows to rounds in a moment. So as you can see, I transitioned over to my other hook because I find it easier to use a shorter hook for rounds than it is a longer hook. You're going to go back and forth between the forward path and the reverse path anyways. So I just picked up a few stitches. Now I'm going to do the reverse path using the vivid color. So make a slip knot and add your yarn to your hook, and now go through 1, and then starting now go through 2. Okay, and you're going to work this up until you have roughly 3 stitches left. Doesn't have to be exact, roughly 3, so like so. Now you're going to drop your vivid color again, and now go back to the white. So once you're at the end here, you're going to transition over 2 rounds. So I'm going to do 1 more stitch right here, and now you're going to fold this together, and now you're going to do rounds. So that means you're now going to insert your hook into your stitches. Okay, so you're going from rows to rounds. Go through that very first stitch right here and keep doing knit stitches. So you can ignore the vivid color and go through the white and simply do your knit stitches. So you go from front to back and pull up your loops. Once it feels kind of uncomfortable or you have plenty of loops on your hook, you're going to transition back to the vivid color and you're going to work it up. So return pass, yarn over and pull through 2 for all the stitches until you have roughly 3 to 4 loops back left on your hook. And then you're going to transition back to the white, and you're going to continue doing that back and forth, forward path with the Tunisian knit stitch and the return path with the vivid color. You're going to continue that until you have the height that you need. So again, you're going to need your reference table for that. Okay, so you have the entire measurement here. So take your measuring tape and measure it. So mine is roughly 8.5 to 9, depends on how much I stretch here. So this is roughly 8.5 to 9 inches. And then this direction is roughly 9 inches. Okay, so that is my adult size hat. So the last thing you need to do is weave your yarn through so we can close it. Make sure it's clean so that way you can reverse this hat back and forth. And then the other thing is you have to sew this together. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to show you how to do that. So my white yarn here is a little short, so I'm just going to reattach a new one. So what I'm going to do is not just sew the 2 sides together, but I'm going to sew them together as if it's going in around. So not going through both layers here at the same time, but going through the top layer and then going in around all the way around. So you can use the whip stitch or the mattress stitch. I like using the mattress stitch, so I'm just going to go back and forth between these V's here that you see. Those are the border stitches. And I'm just going to sew it together like so. That way that poofiness will stay and it doesn't crunch up so much. So you may have to move your hat like this in order to do that. So I'm going from one side to another in a zigzag until it's closed. Then pull your yarn, but don't over pull, otherwise you're going to crunch the entire thing together, and now it's closed. So there's nothing left here. Now it's just a matter of weaving in my ends right here. And the very last step is to close up the top part of the hat. So you can pick either one of these colors. So you can see I have both colors still hanging here so I can show you. I'm probably going to use the colored yarn because that way the look stays the same. And the white I'm just going to fasten off and weave my ends in. So in order to close the hat, you're simply going to take your yarn and weave it through roughly about an inch apart or so. So you go in and out. It can be half an inch too. So just go back and forth and weave your yarn around the last row that you did. And once you're all the way around, you simply pull, 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 pull until the entire hat closes on the top. And now just close it up by sewing back and forth in a star shape so that it's closed. So back and forth until it won't open again. Now once you're done, it's going to look like this. You can totally add a pom-pom at this point. So in order to make the pom-pom part reversible, you're going to add a button on this side and a button on the other side. So that way you can reverse your pom-pom from one side to another side. So it looks like this from this side. And if you turn it around, the hat looks like this on this side. So this side obviously has the vivid part of it a little bit more shown. And on the other side, it's a little bit more faded, therefore a faded rainbow. I would love to know if you're going to pick the same colors for this hat and what size are you going to make it for. Remember, the written pattern is down below that shows you the exact measurements for each direction of the hat. Be sure to like, comment, and share this video. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell to get a notification next time I publish a video or go live. Now go ahead and watch the next video. You're going to want to, I promise you do.